Good morning, and thanks for coming. I very much enjoy speaking extemporaneously, but when I was told the assignment of having to talk about the thing with which I'm most excited and confine it to 20 minutes, I decided I'd better follow some prepared comments. So, I come bearing good news. Recent advances in regenerative and rejuvenative medicine are going to help make it possible for you to live better longer and to help others do the same. The discoveries we're going to discuss are the beginning of a new era in wellness medicine and the first important milestone in a long quest to extend our lives and our health. This may seem like it's an old subject. In fact, the idea of living longer and living better has been a wish and a hope for us for all of our existence. And what I'm coming to talk to you about today is probably the first bona fide, scientifically proved evidence that we can actually accomplish this goal. I think that from this point on, the advances that we're going to make are going to be astounding. Each of us exists in three realms: our body, our mind, and our energetic field. We are who and what we think we are, but we are also a dense electron cloud, functioning as a dynamic system, sharing more in common with a star cluster than a Chevrolet. We are not mechanical, but integrated, expanding, and ever-changing beings. I want to emphasize how important that is to think about for a moment, because what we're going to discuss today is understanding how we function so well that we could actually learn to sustain it. Each of we 7.5 billion people are a universe unto ourselves, just as complex and equally dynamic as the universe in which we exist. To understand how difficult it was to affect aging, you have to consider individual complexity. Your body is an ongoing industry of 35 trillion cells, supporting 1,000 other life forms, numbering in the hundreds of trillions of individual organisms. Think about that for a minute. You know, I see each of you as a pillar of light, but surrounding that pillar of light is all of this biological industry. You're a teeming United Nations of life, carrying out an uncountable number of chemical reactions and physical movements every minute of your life. As it is, you're able to perform this unthinkable number of tasks with grace and ease and relatively few distractions for most of your 40 million minutes on Earth. Imagine trying to understand a system of that complexity well enough to figure out better ways to sustain it. Well, that's what's been done. It, of course, is the culmination of a great deal of energy and endeavor and effort. So we're seeing the mountaintop. But I would tell you that this summit was only hoped for and not achieved until very recently. Many of us are motivated to live better and longer out of fear. Fear of dying and the suffering that seems inevitable with aging. Others are motivated by love, loving more and enjoying the process. Whichever your primary drive, you now have the chance, and will have further chances in the future, to delay the onset of disease and extend this lifespan. It's difficult to prove that someone can extend a lifespan. The problem with that is that a traditional experiment would take 50 years to carry out, and whatever the modality would only be proved if the treated group outlived everyone in the control group. And the biggest problem with that would be recruiting a control group. And of course, keeping them in the group. In science, we sometimes draw subjects into a double-blind placebo-controlled study by saying, listen, at the end of the study, we're going to treat you with the real stuff, even if you didn't get the real stuff. At this point, there wouldn't be that promise. Another problem is measuring your exact biological age. Let me see if this works. Yeah, how about it? We'd have to know your exact biological age to know if some kind of an intervention actually extended your life. And that's a problem that until recently was not solved, but has been solved. If you'd like to know your predicted lifespan on actuarial data, you can find it at John Hancock Insurance / life expectancy or blueprintincome.com. Both sites offer prediction based on actuarial statistics. And you'll find that, given your individual attributes, your lifespan would probably be predicted somewhere between 78 and 82 years. But to measure whether something actually prolongs life, you would want to use an epigenetic clock. Epigenetics refers to how your genes coordinate their expression. If genes are the instruments and you are the conductor, then epigenetics is how the symphony of your life is arranged and played. Epigenetics helps you respond and adapt to the environment, both the one that you're in as well as the one that is within you. Epigenetic clocks work by measuring DNA methylation, which proves to be a very precise indicator of how much longer you have to live. It's not a commercially available laboratory test now, so I can't test my clients to see how much longer they have to live. But I believe someday soon I will be able to do that, and you'll be able to be tested as well. And the value of being tested is not to face the doom and gloom of, oh my gosh, I'm only 51, but this test says I'm 74. The value is to know whether or not the interventions that you're practicing are actually working. Researchers have been using these epigenetic clocks to show whether or not something is anti-aging. And recently, researchers have proved that there are ways to slow, stop, and actually reverse aging. Slowing aging and stopping aging is not sexy because it would take 5 years to notice. But reversing aging is another story. As intriguing as it seems to want to live a much longer period of time, it begs the question of how long do you want to live and why? The first answer is much easier to arrive at than the second. In 2014, an acclaimed bioethicist and oncologist by the name of Ezekiel Emanuel wrote an essay for The Atlantic in which he explained why he wanted to die at 75. Dr. Emanuel said that by 75, his best years will have been lived, and he'll be faltering, if not disabled, and less able to contribute to work, society, and his family. He also said that living beyond 75 would change how he's remembered, that images of vitality and engagement would be replaced by those of feebleness and ineffectuality. That would be true if our means of extending life did not also extend our health. But that's not likely to be the case. We will extend health span proportional to lifespan. None of us want to live older longer, and there's no government that can afford to allow their people to do it. In talking about aging, it's helpful to understand some terms and some processes. Aging simply means growing older, which until now, as Dr. Emanuel points out, has been synonymous with the loss of function, the onset of disease, and the development of disabilities. The incidence of every disease increases each year you live. This happens because of the accumulation of damage and error that begins at the cellular level in your mid-20s and continues relentlessly throughout your life. Begins at your mid-20s. By 30, you are losing more cells than you are gaining. Today's anti-aging researchers are focused on separating the process of getting older from the processes that decrease our abilities. For something to be truly anti-aging, in the way that even Dr. Emanuel would accept, it must slow, stop, or reverse the sum of those processes. Some of the remedies that you'll be hearing about and that you'll take will come in the form of prescription medications, some as nutritional supplements, and others will be harvested from your body or from the bodies of younger people and used to rejuvenate you. Regenerative and rejuvenative medicine will discover new drugs, repurpose existing drugs, identify more dietary supplements, and learn to use stem cells, growth factors, peptides, and tiny informational packets called exosomes that will help you live longer and grow younger in the process. How will this tie into the conventional healthcare system or the wellness industry? Today's healthcare system is neither about health nor care. Its focus is on disease diagnosis and management. If your doctor correctly names your problem and prescribes the right treatment, he or she believes they will have done their job and likely move on to the next case. In their defense, most doctors learn almost nothing about health and wellness in medical school, which leaves them completely unprepared to offer sound advice in this area. The role of delivering this information and these new and exciting treatments will be left to alternative medical clinics and the wellness industry, which I believe overlap now and will someday likely merge. The wellness industry knows how to structure these treatments, knows how to deliver these treatments. It's all about service, and unfortunately, medical care is very little about service and really doesn't understand how to structure these types of innovative treatments. You folks will be among the curators and messengers and likely first providers of these innovative ways to look and feel better. The forward-thinking spas are already developing in-house programs involving medical and paramedical personnel to provide prescription and non-prescription agents and procedures with true regenerative and rejuvenative abilities. Once the spa industry resolves the issues of medical liability, they will become the center of this new and expanding industry. Historically, the best we could do was take care of ourselves by eating well, staying active, getting enough rest, reducing stress, and seeking balance in our lives. And I won't for a moment discount that. Earlier I said we exist in three forms. Our body is solely dependent upon what we eat, how active we are, how well we sleep, and what our perspective is, our view of self and our place in the world. And if you don't serve those purposes, you won't create a foundation upon which these new treatments will work or do much good. In the past, spas could provide havens and retreats where innovative practices were developed and available. Although the treatments that you got at a spa and the rest that you took for the week or two that you were there resulted in a fresher look and a better quality of life for a while, it had little measurable effect on the epigenetic clock. Today and in the days ahead, your services and your treatments will expand to include these new measures and abilities and make a real difference not only in the quality of someone's life and not only for the immediate future, but in the length and the long-standing quality of their life. The role of this information and these new and exciting treatments will be left. Where am I? Oh, the role of delivering this information will be left to the alternative clinics in the wellness industry. We already have genomic tests we can use to customize our diets and our exercise programs, and innovations in helping people reduce stress, avoid jet lag, and improve sleep. We've identified certain dietary supplements and medicines, yes, I'm going to tell you, and are perfecting medical treatments using stem cells and peptides and exosomes and other agents that have the ability to slow and in some cases reverse aging. There are some new treatments I won't share with you today, but perhaps talk about next year after they're more proved and more well established, that have profound potential. The anti-aging treatments that have been developed in the past 10 years have been impressive, and those coming in the next 10 will be better still. These discoveries made at the highest level of science will provide your industry with an unprecedented ability to help people. If the wellness industry steps in to fill the informational and availability void created by the medical community's lack of preparedness, rejuvenation will become its greatest source of revenue, and wellness spas will become everyone's go-to place for these treatments and services. By now, you may be interested in what some of these new agents and discoveries are. This table, which is excerpted from a medical journal article, summarizes some of the proved and most promising agents. In my practice, I recommend that people take the nutritional supplement fisetin. Fisetin is a chemical derived from plants. If appropriate, I suggest they take the drug metformin. Fisetin, because of its low cost and low risk. Fisetin works by culling senescent cells from populations of cells. It turns out that our body follows a democratic rule. The majority cells, whether they are old or young, influence the other minority to join them. So older cells age younger cells, and younger cells rejuvenate older cells. Younger cells rejuvenate older cells. So culling a population of these senescent cells can have a big effect, and you can do it with this nutritional supplement. I know that there's, that profits make all things possible, and so there's a lot of discussions in the Wellness Summit about profitability. What's remarkable about fisetin is how inexpensive it is. These anti-aging treatments, another valuable agent missing from this chart is something called nicotinamide riboside. And although that's a long chemical name, if you just Google NR or NAD+, you'll find a plethora of information on nicotinamide riboside. Nicotinamide riboside is another vitamin precursor that increases energy inside cells. Energy helps our dynamic system avoid entropy and keeps cells organized and efficient. The more energy we have and the more energy we can create, the more functional we will be. And if aging is defined as the loss of function over time, the younger we will get. Another leading edge agent are exosomes. Exosomes are how your cellular body communicates with itself. If you think about an injury that you've had, you know that the immune system is somehow involved in repairing the tissues. But think about it a little more. How does the immune system communicate with the damaged tissues? And we've all heard a great deal about stem cells, and stem cells are certainly involved in repairing injuries. How does the immune system communicate with the stem cells? The conversation is carried out in the language of exosomes. They're the mechanism by which your immune system, stem cells, and somatic cells converse in their collaborative effort to maintain your health. Exosomes are then the lingua franca of your body, and when spoken properly, can be used to sustain youthful function. What does that mean, spoken properly? I mean, we can manipulate your exosomes to make you a younger person. We can manipulate your exosomes to have a conversation with your stem cells, to first repair themselves so that your stem cells are younger, and then repair the rest of the body so that the repairs that the stem cells are carrying out are not perpetuating the accumulation of error that started when you were 25 and was accelerated last night. There's a small study that was recently published that I really want to tell you about. Now, it's a limited, gender-biased pilot study. Those are all bad characteristics of a study. But it had an astounding outcome. The study showed age reversal in 9 males, of course, 9 male subjects, aged 51 to 65, who were given a combination of some very familiar agents. They were given growth hormone, the adrenal hormone DHEA, and the prescription medicine metformin for 1 year. Their biological age was measured by an epigenetic clock at the beginning, end, and 6 months after taking the triad of agents for that year. The results showed a reversal of aging by a little over 2 years in all 9 subjects. That's a profound result. It is, to my knowledge, the first time that anything has been proved without question to have made people younger, to have extended that distance from their epigenetic time of death established at the beginning of the study to the end of the study by a full 2 years. I'm not a scientist, I'm a clinician, but I've worked with scientists and continue to work with scientists regularly. And I've come to understand how they think. If you ask a scientist what color this is, they'll say it's white on that side. Oh boy. Well, you're going to find me outside. So let's do this, okay? This is Bob Dylan's Salute to Growing Older, his song Forever Young. And if you don't like the reality of what's happening to you, take a look at this slide. Do the foundational work, monitor and optimize your sleep, identify risk factors, test for and correct nutritional deficiencies, take some supplements, talk to your doctor about taking metformin. If you're over 50, talk to your doctor about taking the triad of agents to see if they will rejuvenate you. Living better without the drain of illness and infirmity is an opportunity to have more experiences, process more thoughts, feel more emotions, and continue contributing. It's a chance to live and laugh and love more. But it comes with a responsibility. In Luke, the Bible says, "From those to whom much is given, much will be required." For all of us to live better longer, we'll have to be aware of and sensitive to the needs of others and to that of our planet. If we're planning to stay, we're going to have to clean up a little better than we have in the past. And we'll have to learn how to satisfy our needs and see that those of our neighbors are also met in order to enjoy the excitement of living well beyond 100 years. I'm interested in your thoughts and questions, and I apologize for not making more time to air them here, but I will meet you outside any time. Thank you very much for your attention and for coming.